but you have to find your role. You have to find your spot. And sometimes it's a mismatch, right? Like the job that you are assigned to do is not a great fit for your skill set. So then you need to find a place where those skill sets will be celebrated. And it takes some trial and error. We gotta like kind of, fuck around and find out to figure out where we belong sometimes.
Facts.
Yeah.
Him being overlooked, Spence, really hurt. The character is funny.
Right.
I think I used to really laugh at it. Now it kind of makes me like really sad.
Yeah.
Like extremely sad to see how he gets his shit on.
Yeah.
Because me being, low support needs, right? I don't need much. And then, but I picture someone like Salim at moderate needs or someone at high support needs. And that's them getting fucked over. That's them getting abused. That's them getting taken advantage of. That's some of my very naive and innocent kiddos that get taken advantage of in horrible ways, financially, physically, sexually, emotionally. And I'm just like, damn. And so many of my kiddos, they can't talk. And maybe they're nonverbal, or maybe it's just a bunch of hot mess that comes out. And so I'll send them to places, Spence, to go get help from this place, this office, that office. And they'll shit on my kid and tell him to go away. Oh, you didn't say. And then my kid comes back to me traumatized because they're always told they don't make any sense, or they're not getting to the point, or my kid has too much trauma to even get to the point. I can understand them. It's fine.
Yeah.
So I just write fucking kids letters now. I'll say, I'll write you the letter. You email the people. You show up to the meeting. You ain't got to say shit. Just have them read the letter. And I've continuously had to do that more and more now. And I'm not trying to take anyone's autonomy away. But when they're going to doctor's office, the dean's office, professor's office, and they're getting just fucking railroaded, that's not helping me and my client.
No.
So we talk about what they want to say. I write the shit down because they get kind of anxious about it, and they send it. And then that allows them to have the conversation that's much more structured. So I think of Milton, and I just get sad. And it sucks that, some folks in these workplaces will take advantage of him or hurt him, but betray him, belittle him. I think of other folks that are like queer or trans that are in that same position, which might be more bullied or targeted. And then you see him become like the villain at the end or the bad guy at the end, but he's still so autistic on the beach. Like, did he have too much fucking salt, right? I don't understand. He's like, I'm going to write a letter. I'm going to write horrible reviews. I'm going to fucking tank this place.
Yeah.
And
take my traveler's checks.
Yep.
To a competing place.
And I love it. I do love it. And I think this is a really good representation of not Spencer. What did we talk about in the last pod for the accountant? Of like this certain type of autism that they always show. That's like extreme fucking geniuses and all that. And like, they don't really talk about masking, where we got this guy that's probably not masking a shit ton. He's just being him. That's autistic as hell. But he's being hurt and bullied. Yeah. Instead of all these other shows, they're kind of affirming them and like celebrating them. Like we see the other dark side of like autism or neurodivergence. That's the dark side.
Which I think is a good place to actually show too. I think nowadays as well.
Yeah. Representation, right? Like I think, when you think about like neurodivergent content creators, they're generally pretty articulate or attractive, or there's something about them that is not representative of most people's experience with that neurodivergence. And I mean, Milton truly stays true to himself, like to the bitter end. Like he's still just like railing about that salt on his margarita. And
I don't want salt on my drink. I don't understand. Why would you put salt on my drink? I don't understand. I'm going to write a letter. No.
I'm dead. That's great, but that's how legit. That's how my clients act and think.
Yeah.
And the echolalia will kick up, and the stress kicks up, and next could come the full meltdown.
Yeah.
Because they'll be sitting there, Nas, and they'll be rocking some of my students, and they're telling me, and I got to pull them out of that because I can see them fucking spiraling. If I don't pull them out of it, they're gonna tank.
Yeah.
So then the next thing is, how do we figure out, like, identify when we're starting to spiral, and like put in some speed bumps and some stims and some other things. And I'll tell the client sometimes, I'm like, I'm distracting you, right, by like talking about other shit. They're like, I know, Nas. I said, I'm just making sure you know. I didn't randomly just talk about fucking Pokemon cards.
Why not?
While you were having a meltdown.
Why not? The fuck?
Not,
You should. All right. Charizard.
Meerkat. So I love the character. I'm glad that we did this. This is one of the reasons why I was excited to do this film, because of that character in the realness and the dark side, which we don't ever see in movies or shows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would also, I do have a question, especially about when let's talk about applying to jobs, right? And when we apply to jobs, you know, they have that one form where you can say out like all the disabilities and your identities and things like that. We're going to talk about this too in another show about Boston Legal, about one character who's autistic, and he actually gets fired from his job for different reasons. But I'm with everything going on today politically. Do you find it difficult to really put those identities and disabilities into these applications, even though they are needed and you want to have as much clairvoyancy, or you want to be as careful as you can while you're filling out these forms, but at the same time you also want to make sure these employers know exactly like what's going on too. Do you find it hard to talk about those certain things, and like what are your takes on people filling out these forms when they talk about their identities, disabilities, things like that?
This is something I talk about a lot when it comes to like note keeping and what do we document and what do we even ask clients for? Like, do we even ask for their pronouns? Is it going to come back and bite everyone in the ass, right? Like, we just got to a place where these the very real implications of your lived experience and your identities is like being recognized and like being celebrated in a lot of ways. And now it's like, 100 steps backwards. And I think about how all of us, we still exist. We are still in this world. We are still trying to make it through. And we just have our marching orders to say what we need to say and keep our jobs, right? Like we are still doing the same thing. We just need to call it something a little bit different. And it sucks. It sucks that we have to do that. And we see the very real implications of not doing that. And not everyone has the privilege to be able to say, like, I don't know, free Palestine loud, right? Like, people are getting their degrees revoked. Like, it's very real, horrible implications of all of this stuff. And at the same time, like, we're all still out here, we're still existing. So it's just going to be more subversive, I think. I think we're all just trying to figure out how to, like, like test the waters in a different way, dog whistles, whatever. Like, how do we assess and vet the safety of the people around us without having to be as transparent or as vulnerable?
For Spence, for the applications, I always advise my clients that if it's disabling enough to be picked up in the interview, then you need to document it. That way it's not held against you. If you are functioning enough to where you look like you're neurotypical, everything's fine, don't worry about it. I said, we'll fill out the paperwork and we'll go to HR after you get the job. I'll fill out all the information, the forms, we'll get you accommodations. So to me, when it comes to that subsection, not just us as clinicians and what we document and all that,
Right.
is how good are we are blending in or masking, or how disabled are we by whatever we got going on.
Right.
If there is like a stammer, stutter, if there is some ADHD that's intense and we zone out, just some dissociations, high anxiety, it just depends. Eye contact, then I will have them identify things if needed. But in these times, Spence, it's scary, but I have to have them documented because I don't want to be held against them.
Right. Yeah.
So it's case by case.
Yeah, and I think that's perfect, and I think that's going to go well with people to know that, especially if they don't have somebody there to tell them these things, right? Because maybe they do fill out their applications and they keep on getting rejected from these jobs, whether or not they put in certain disabilities or identities into the application, or they leave them out, and then they get to that stage and then they're like, why am I not getting the jobs that I know I'm qualified for? So I think that'll also go a long way with this too.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've got
I mean, you have
folks.
to know your rights, right? You have
Yep.
to know your rights and what is protected under law for now.
Right.
And it's also not the worst thing to learn how to mask these days. And I hate saying that.
Right.
But it's a survival tactic.
It is.
So,
Yep. It
yeah.
is. I so badly want to click it. And I was working with a client today just to fill out insurance because I'm trying to help them get insurance. And there's certain things he's like, should I click this? I'm like, nah, G, we ain't clicking that. It's interesting.
Yeah, it's always changing these days too, you know.
Yeah.
So it's hard to know what the right answer is.
So let's do a little pivot and get out of here. So
Yeah.
what do you got going on? What do you got to promote? Like you got a book going on? Do you currently accept clients? Because I got a place where I refer people. Like what do you got going on, and how can we support
Who are you?
How can we support you?
Well, I have a group private practice and we are taking clients. I'm personally not taking clients because I'm a little hyper fixated on finishing this book, but I do have fellow clinicians who are all PSI-packed. So they see clients telehealth across like 40 states. I have people who specialize in OCD and neurodivergence and anxiety. I also have an assessment psychologist who does autism and ADHD evals in a neurodivergence affirming way. So if we need to keep things on the DL, like that's okay, we can make that happen. But she's also doing long COVID neuropsych evals, which is really cool because, we're seeing the implications of this mass disabling event and how that affects people's mental health and neurological health. And other than that, I'm promoting my book, which is currently stated to be out in June of next year. And we're not quite at like the pre-orders phase yet, but we will be soon. Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice. Hey, thanks for watching this video. Check out the full episode on our channel and anywhere you find podcasts. Also, remember to like and subscribe. Whoop whoop.